Weather now, strong storms and heavy rain are moving across parts of the region this afternoon. There's even a flash flood watch. For the latest on that, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Jim Caldwell with our first look at weather. Jim?
Numerous pockets of heavy rain are moving through southern and eastern Kentucky right now, as we've got one of a couple of waves we were getting ready for moving through right now. Our live pinpoint Doppler radar shows you where some of the heaviest rain is at, and that's right now bearing down on the city of Somerset, and then you got some over toward parts of Knott County and into Floyd County. But right now, close to Somerset there in Pulaski County, that's going to be the heaviest pocket of rain that we're going to encounter, I think. As far as our flash flood watch, it's in effect for everybody in eastern Kentucky until 10 o'clock tonight, with the heavy rain that's in the area, the saturated ground from, well, not a lot of relief from the rainfall so far. It looks like we're going to be dealing with more tonight, so the potential for flooding is out there. Now, I'll have more details on this coming up in the full forecast a little bit later.
All right, Jim, thank you.
And now, Sky Alert weather featuring Pinpoint Doppler, eastern and southern Kentucky's most dependable forecast. Sponsored by Community Trust Bank, building communities built on trust.
Are moving through the region here. A lot of showers and storms, and some producing now some severe weather, which was one of our original thoughts yesterday. Live pinpoint Doppler radar showing you some of those storms, and one of my highlighted earlier being the strongest in parts of eastern Kentucky is now one that has a warning marked on it. That's down into southern Kentucky, right over top of the folks there in Pulaski County. That's where one of the strongest cells is at. You can kind of see some of those colors now showing up, the bright colors too. So let's go a little bit closer in and give you some of the vital information, because not only is it affecting the folks in Pulaski County, it's also going to affect some other locations as well. Warning in effect now for you folks there in Pulaski County, with the flash flood watch 2 in effect until 10 o'clock. But you've got the severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 5 p.m. for you folks over there in Laurel County. Real quick, Jackson, Laurel, Pulaski, and Rockcastle, all of those locations under the gun with a severe thunderstorm warning here. The most significant part of the cell right along 80, it looks like, or just to the south now of the parkway there. Let me get some information here so you can see the road numbers. There's Mark, there's Stab, got Sinking Valley, Valley Oak, all of those locations right now with, again, this is where the most significant part of that cell is currently at. And as for the rest of the folks in eastern Kentucky, dealing with pockets of heavy rain in many, many different locations out there as well. So we'll be dealing with that for a little while longer. And there you see our flash flood watch that's in effect for everybody. That's everybody in eastern Kentucky until 10 o'clock tonight. So we'll be watching for more rounds of heavy rain to come moving through the area. Saturated ground in place, so all of the key ingredients to cause some issues are out there. So just keep that in mind. Watch those creeks and streams with some of the heavy rain that will be around. Now, you can notice here with our Somerset weather cam, it's actually the other way around. I had to reverse it to show you some of those dark clouds off in the distance because of the storm that is moving very, very close to those folks down there. Right in the city, just dealing with some of the rain, not the heavy stuff just yet. It's starting to, of course, move off toward the east from the city. Big pockets of heavy stuff toward our north, and then, of course, the last couple of hours of the stronger storms that have been getting fired up across parts of Kentucky now in our region. Temperatures down quite a bit in Jackson to 68 degrees. This is because of the rain-cooled air. 77 down in London, 73 in Middlesboro. 82 still in Somerset, but when the data updates here in the next little bit, I suspect it's going to be a little bit cooler with that patch of rain right over them. Frontal boundary to our north, just kind of keeping everything going. It's the trigger mechanism you need, the lift in the atmosphere that's really been going the last few days. So as long as it's hanging around, your weather will stay very unsettled because wind will converge at that front. Well, over the next day or so, the front actually swings into Kentucky, giving us a better chance for showers and storms again Thursday. And it starts to die out some on Friday, which will lead to a mostly dry weekend forecast too. So keep that in mind. A stray shower here or there, but I suspect a very nice weekend overall, mainly on the dry side. Model suggesting that. And you can see it there on your 7-day forecast, where your weekend is always in view. Daytime highs in the 80s, 81 there on Saturday and Sunday both. Again, smaller chances for rain. Let's check our mountain calendar out. What we've got for you here is a band reunion dinner. Laurel County High School has been going on for the classes from 1970 to 1992. For more information, you can dial the number you see there on your screen, or they've got a website that you can also visit, lchsbandreunion.com.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Well, we have a tornado warning just issued. Let's go to Jim.
All right, Steve, for parts of the folks, parts of Pulaski County and also over into Laurel County, tornado warning now in effect. It started out as a severe thunderstorm warning. Now it has been upgraded to a tornado warning that is now affecting that area. Let's get you some vital information out for it. It only runs out till 5 o'clock, which puts us about 35 minutes on the actual warning time. So we're going to have to start tracking this street by street and go in with a little more information and see what we do have exactly going on. Just coming out right there as Stacy Johnson was wrapping up his story, we were starting to hear the sky alert siren go off, and here's what we've got. Tornado warning for west central Laurel County and east central Pulaski County. I'll highlight that a little bit better for you so you can see that on your screen too. And there you have it. The severe thunderstorm warning obviously still in effect for the folks in Jackson and Rockcastle counties, but the big part of this is going to be for you folks now down into Laurel and Pulaski County, with the tornado warning running all the way through 5 o'clock here this evening, with the possibility of some circulation showing up in the air that has not been spotted or indicated by anybody on the ground. But what they're seeing at the National Weather Service, they saw some rotation, and so when we get that rotation starting to show up, maybe we could have a tornado develop and reach the ground. So that's going to be our primary threat here very, very soon. Again, it's specifically for west central Laurel County and east central Pulaski County. What I can do is I can adjust some of our data and show you exactly what I'm talking about and who's seeing the highlighted area. So I'll pull the radar data down so you can see the specific location of our warning. So there it is. It's just to the south and west of London, east of Somerset, some of the major areas there. High top over in Laurel County, and it's mainly for a big chunk of Laurel County now that you look at how the warning is cut up. It was seen near, on radar, near the area known as Bunch, near Bunch, or right around 7 miles west of Bunch. That's where the tornado, or at least the indication, the column of air rotating in the air was at that could very well be producing a tornado. So it was in that general area. And right now, the storm itself, let me pull this data back up, it's sitting right over some of these roads. So we'll throw a couple of names like Stepping Rock Ridge Road, Lick Creek Road, all in Pulaski County now, folks. And you got, that could be east, that could be anything right there, but E. Adkins Arthur Road. So we'll just say E. Adkins Arthur Road. All of the roads that are right underneath our warning and where that's at. So that's in Pulaski County. So anybody on one of those roads need to pay very close attention, because you could be dealing with a possible tornado here within the next few minutes. Now, as for you folks there in Laurel County, you got places like the Narrows Road, Pond Ridge Road, Dog Branch Road, Cane Creek Road, Line Creek Road, Griffin Branch Road, Sinking Creek Road, and Willie Green Road, and the big one there, that's 192. That's now in parts of Laurel County. And again, that's where the most of the warning is at. So a big chunk of that county being covered up with a warning, as that cell is going to continue to pull off toward the east, southeast. Looks like, just looking at the shape and the design of our warning, looks like that's how it should be trying to cruise, kind of a southeasterly little turn. And I'll pull up the data a little bit better. So right in this storm, the possibility of some rotation exists. So I'll throw up a storm track too, because I want to see some more information. Some of our computer data will sometimes plot the data ahead of time and give us a good indication of what's going on too within the storm. Some of the algorithms and some of the other formulas that go into deciding whether or not rotation is a factor. And it'll pull some data together for us too and show us how many people can be affected by this and some of the other things. Not exactly moving very fast, and there comes one of the indicators right there, what you're seeing on your screen, that little, let me get to where I can show you with my mouse. There we go. That little indicator right there says there could be some rotation within the storm. So let's get some more information just on that, and it'll show you some locations too and possible number of people affected. Looking around 48,000, and all of the communities within the path of that, showing it moving southeast at 36. And this data, again, updates a little more frequently, so could be right on the money for us. So that's what we want to see. So moving through those communities here within the next 30 minutes or so. You're looking at 4:30 right now. This takes us to 5:09. So the next 39 minutes for all of the communities highlighted here on our storm tracking map that we've got thrown up here for you in parts of Pulaski and Laurel County. Laurel, you're going to be under the gun a little while longer, though, I do suspect. So as the storm moves slowly into your area, that's what you're going to be dealing with. Now, if you're toward Somerset or Ferguson, clouds real dark, guess what? That's not the cell that we're looking at and really concerned about. It's another cell that is just off toward the east that we're looking at here that is possibly producing some tornadic activity through Pulaski County and Laurel County. So if you're in Somerset and you're getting some good rain, or you're just looking off in the distance, you're seeing some decent cloud cover there, some really dark clouds, that's what you're looking at, that cell. This is the one we're really concerned about because it could be producing a tornado there within it. So the rotation factor has already popped up, so that now thrown into the mix. Now guys, if we could, if you are handy dandy and ready, if you could flip over to our other computer and show some of those tips for these people down there in Laurel County. We have some severe weather tips to show you, and there you have them. You want to get to a basement, to the lowest point of your home. Now, if you don't have a basement, get to the bottom floor of your house, an interior hallway or room. And that kind of puts more walls between you and the outside world and whatever may be brewing out there, which could be some big-time debris being thrown around because you got a lot of strong winds. And you want to stay away from your windows too, because again, those are so easily broken by anything. So something could penetrate that, some flying debris, and come right in on you there at your house. So stay away from those windows. And of course, mobile homes are not excellent places to be at due to the fact they can be picked up more easily. Almost like a car could be picked up if you're driving on the highway, kind of picked up and blown off the road. So keep some of these tips in mind. You're looking at them, the severe weather tips, they are on your screen. Let's check out our radar again, guys, and again, focusing in on our storm cell that is now the bulk of it in Laurel County. Let me go tighter. I can go a little bit tighter and show you all of the communities again that are generally over there that will be highlighted. You see from Bald Rock, 192, some of these small little roads, Rooks Road, Middle Fork Road, and there's the Narrows Road again showing up. So all of those folks are right underneath this cell as it's moving through Laurel County, and I'm talking about the far west parts of the county too. So southwest right now, the city of London, you see High Top, Box, you see some other areas. I-75 also included in on some of the action too, as the storm will probably pass right over it here very soon. Now the warning's not covering that up, but what happens here is you run into just a pretty strong storm, goes blowing across the interstate here within the next 30 minutes. So from High Top to Bald Rock, all of those places all around that, you're going to see some pretty significant weather here and the possibility of a tornado in the area. And we were looking a little while ago, I popped up the one of the storm, or not the storm cam, but the weather cam down there in Somerset, and it was quite the picture just to see some of the clouds off in the distance. And that was about the time that that cell was skirting town, and now it's well off to the east and moving through the folks over there in Laurel County. That's where it's at now, in west central Laurel County. So we're going to watch it for the next little bit, possibly producing a tornado. So far I haven't seen a report of it coming out that somebody's actually seen it on the ground or somewhere there pretty close. It's all radar indicated, and from what I can tell here, just by coverage of roads through that part of the county, it looks it's probably a lower populated area. And then when we generated the population graphic a minute ago, showing 48,000 people, not 200,000 or 300,000 people, and sometimes that population will get a little spread out, and that was including parts of Pulaski County too. So you're looking at some of the main roads through that area, so maybe the population of houses may be a little more scarce as compared to over toward High Top and some of these other locations where you're seeing more roads, roads off of roads, if you will, some of the little side roads in that location. Let me pop up our radar data again just to get the latest feel of this one. There's your cell and the main part of the cell. And it all by itself, I want to see just how long this is. So how long is it from top to bottom? There we go. You're looking at from top to bottom of the most significant parts of the cell, about 11 miles from north to south that it's covering up. So somewhere within that swath, that's where we're dealing with those strong, intense thunderstorm that's possibly producing a tornado. And it's right now, the bulk of it now in Laurel County. So in the highlighted warning areas, that's where you need to get under the gun and be prepared for the potential of a tornado. And as I mentioned earlier, get to your basement, get to those safe locations, because you want to try to protect life first, and then what you can do with property second, because we can replace that property, can't replace you. So that's why we always say, get yourself here. We'll worry about the other things later, because it's more important to have you in that safe location. And right along 192, it's kind of following that. Notice that as it's moving off toward the east. And seeing different little icons, I know you're noticing those, they'll change from location to location. There's another one right there, and that's the hail indicator, showing that there's probably some intense hail showing up. 100% chance, you can read it right there, of hail, and probability of it being significant and severe. We're reaching that quarter-size level. 70%. And there are all the communities within the path of this storm, or at least where that hail area is at. What I will do, and what we can do, is I can show you an actual storm track, and it's going to be just a little bit different than what you were seeing. It'll pop up the same, but what will happen is the whole storm, there goes the good live sweep going by. What it will do, though, it kind of gives you a better idea of how this is going, and that's moving it right now 25 miles per hour. Okay, 25 miles per hour. Okay, there we go. Now let's put our squall line indicator out. Here we go. And I'll take you out over the next 30 minutes. There you go. Kiwi, near the, that's showing near the London Corbin Airport. Those are just some of the locations along this severe thunderstorm, possibly producing a tornado. And that's showing around 19,000 people possibly being affected by the storm. That is also, by the way, skirting, because it's a pretty lengthy little storm, it's also skirting right now northern Whitley County. And that's some pretty severe stuff right through there as well. So you're dealing with that in northern Whitley County too. So the city of Corbin, you're going to get some strong stuff as well. Now, as far as it remaining a severe thunderstorm or a tornado warning, that's going to be what we'll have to deal with here in the very near future. But some new warnings coming out as well. So let's throw the severe thunderstorm warning data up so we can see exactly who's going to be dealing with that. Now, there are a couple of counties included on it, on our severe thunderstorm warning. So there you see who all's under severe thunderstorm warning activity, and that shows you that looks like the overall trajectory of the storm's pulling south and east, so it's going to be blowing through Corbin and then eventually into the city of Barberville. Hopefully it'll weaken some here in the next little bit, but right now it doesn't seem to be the case, because it's decently impressive with some pretty strong hail possible in the winds, and then you factor in that rotation, and then you have a whole world of trouble in a big-time situation down there across southern Kentucky. So again, even if you're in Corbin, right before that warning came out, I was talking about how you're going to get pretty intense pretty soon, and right within the same breath, I believe the warning was coming out. So anybody down in that area, That's what we're talking about. So you'll be dealing with it here in the next little bit as well. And that warning, let me plot this warning for you, and you see that it goes all the way through 5:30 p.m. and this is for more of Laurel County, this is for more of Whitley County, and this is for more of Knox County. So all of Laurel covered up with some type of a warning now, except for just a few miles of the county. And then you look at parts of Rockcastle County still with that warning, though I do believe your warning was issued for the same storm cell that we're dealing with down here to the south. So I can throw the radar data up. So you're in the clear as far as severe weather situation is concerned. You there in northern Laurel and over into Rockcastle County. Things looking much, much better for you at the moment. It's down here in northern Whitley and through parts of Laurel that we're really concerned, in the southwestern corner of the county, where you have that rotation factor, and you also have the possibility of some straight line winds in excess of about 70 miles per hour. That's also within that storm, and that continues to move off toward the south and east here over the next hour, or roughly an hour. It's 4:40 right now. Warnings go out until 5:30 p.m. So you got plenty of time left on this. Now, well, of course, as soon as that tornado warning goes down, we will cut away. And with them issuing severe thunderstorm warnings out for this storm, it kind of makes me wonder what they're feeling and how they're feeling about the severe weather and the possibility of a tornado within that storm. So that could go down, at least the probability of it producing a tornado. And what I can do is I can throw our tips back up for you real quick here. Let's show you some of these tips. If you're just now getting into one of the warnings, those are the tips. You can go to a basement or the lowest point of your home. That's where you want to be to stay protected, because if you can get into one of those locations, what can happen is you're going to take yourself right out of the path of the strongest winds and the tornado. You're going to be below it. So get to that basement if you've got one, but if you don't have it, what you want to do is there we go. They're part of the tornado warning now canceled. All right. Let's see what else. What are the data is going to come in? The Pulaski part of the warning is down. That caught me mid-thought, but the Pulaski part of the warning is now down, and that obviously with the storm being out of there, good call. Still in effect for parts of Laurel County. But back to the other point I was trying to make there was the severe weather tips. Bottom floor of your house, interior hallway room, what you want to do there, and what we mean by that is if you build a fort around yourself, you're going to be in pretty good shape, because you're going to put more between you and the outside world as you possibly can. So big time protection there. That's what that'll add to you. So stay away from windows as well, because we know how thin those are and easily damaged. And finally, the bottom tip there, mobile homes should be abandoned due to several reasons, due to the fact that they can be easily picked up and thrown around a little bit. So those are your tips, and let's get back to our radar coverage now so we can go in and see who is getting in on some of that action. And it's still right there in that southwestern corner of Laurel County and now northern Whitley County. And some new storm tracks coming in, our computer plotting some of those, saying there may be some rotation within this. This is for northern Whitley County. So there's some of the communities that are included in on this. So you see a whole list and how long it's going to take for some of those folks to be dealing with them. So I highly suspect the rotation factor has left us. And I mentioned this a moment ago when I said that, hey, it looks like with all these severe thunderstorm warnings that some of these areas will not be dealing with tornadic activity. I just have to wait and see. They do say there may be some rotation left over. That's what that's trying to suggest. So what we have to deal with here is playing the waiting game on this storm. Hopefully it'll weaken to some degree. And as it moves very, very slowly, as it has been doing, we'll just have to wait and see, again, with what it's going to be possibly doing here within the next 15 to 16 minutes, because that's how long our warning stays up. Now, they can always go in and change their mind or reissue some things with the warnings, and they can change what they've issued. So there's your tornado warning area, okay? There's your tornado warning area. Let's review radar data. It's still hanging out right there. It's not the most intense part of it, but the most intense part's now into southern parts of the county. So where the warning is at, the bulk of this has moved away from But still, we have those other warnings that also cover it too. That would include you there in Corbin and all those other locations there where it gets a little more populated out in southern Kentucky. So there you have it. Obviously a lot of roads there. There's a lot of people living off some of those roads. You can see Corbin, North Corbin, down to Woodbine. This is where our severe thunderstorm warning is at, for good reason too, because that storm is just off to your east. So if you're in the city of Corbin, this storm possibly producing a tornado earlier within the cell. Nothing indicated on the ground, but radar suggests there's some strong rotation and has a little while here. Right now, dealing with just a severe thunderstorm warning, and that can be just as deadly and just as big of a problem because it can produce winds in excess of 60 and I think maybe up to 70 miles per hour with this particular cell. So if you're in Corbin, from 1st Street to 3rd Street and everywhere in between, you want to try to get to a safe location because you do have a pretty strong storm coming into your area. Right now, just starting to see the beginning of it with the heavier amounts of rain. So a couple of those places we're looking at, there's 9th Street, there's 3rd Street, and there's 312. And of course the big road there in the middle, that's at 25. So there's US 25. We'll be crossing over you very, very soon. So everybody down there in Corbin, get prepared. This storm will also be passing over the interstate very, very soon. And it's got the lightning, it's got the large hail possibilities, quarter-sized hail, possibly embedded within the storm, and the fact that it could be producing some very, very strong winds. Now, if you notice the shades of color going down a little bit, so losing some of the intensity, but what happens sometimes when those storms start to lose the brightest colors off the radar, sometimes as it's starting to come down from that peak of intensity, it can still cause a whole lot of problems as it moves so slowly. And the one thing about moving slow here is maybe it's raining itself out a little bit, losing some of the instability in the air that will continue to feed it. The warm, moist air, some of the colder air comes out. But even as that happens, some of the gusty winds start to also pick up to some degree throughout the storm area there in the southwestern part of the county. So let's just keep that in mind. Let's keep that in mind here as we progress through time there in parts of Laurel County and down into Whitley County. And that storm has its sights set on, right now, the city of Corbin. So it's going to get pretty intense for you all here real quick, fast, and in a hurry. So keep that in mind, my friends, because you're going to be dealing with it pretty soon here. Some strong wind, large hail, and of course the heavy rain factor. All of us under a flash flood watch until 10 o'clock tonight, and it's because of storms like this that can come and produce a lot of rain in a very short amount of time over the same real estate over and over again that we have watches like that issued. So that covers everybody. What we're dealing with here is just the severe weather factor, which is something we talked about yesterday, 4, 6, and 11 o'clock, talking about potential for severe weather. And there you have it. Some strong storms moving through parts of Kentucky here. And I'm just going to readjust my view to see if anybody else is dealing with anything significant. And right now that appears to be, as it has for the last 30 minutes, appears to be the most intense cell. So we're not forgetting about you folks over there in Pike County or Letcher County or Harlan County or here right here in Perry County. We're just dealing with rain right now. All these folks out here dealing with a much different situation, possibly life-threatening, with tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings that have been posted here down in southern Kentucky. And let's just pull radar data down for a moment. Again, there's your tornado warning. There's where it was at. But if you compare the radar data, most of the intense stuff and the general location where most storms or most tornadoes develop within these storms, now down to the south. So we just have to wonder what's going to happen here with the status of our warning up here. And will these severe thunderstorm warnings suffice? If you look at it on radar, just straight up radar, you say, yeah, these severe thunderstorm warnings will probably take care of the progression of the storm here over the next 30 minutes. We're about 10 minutes away from the actual expiration time for the tornado warning for Laurel County. We'll hang right here with it until it goes completely down, because sometimes those sweeps, as they come back around, they'll start to show you different things, because what those sweeps do is they scan those storms from top to bottom, showing us different layers and what's going on in different levels of the atmosphere. So we'll stay right here with you until that warning has been canceled or it expires. And again, that runs all the way out until 5 o'clock, and some of the data that runs across your screen will also tell you that here from time to time, as we have the crawl that runs at the top of the screen for you folks at home too as well. So warning status is there for the severe thunderstorm warnings that are highlighting this area that you're looking at here. Well, let me get my mouse back up on the screen so you can see it. For this area right here, for Whitley County and parts of Knox, and this area of Laurel County, that's the 5:30 warning time. That's what you're dealing with there. And just that severe thunderstorm warning coming out again. So that's who's highlighted with that. Tornado warning right here in effect for just Laurel now until 5 p.m. So 5 p.m. for the red highlighted area here showing up on our map. The rest of you under severe thunderstorm warnings for the next 10 minutes or so, and then others in parts of Whitley, Knox, and southeastern Laurel County. You all until 5:30 with severe thunderstorm warning because of that cell. You in Somerset, Pulaski, and Rockcastle County, if you just look at the data here, just dealing with now heavy rain. As far as the severe weather, strong winds, you're seeing some gusty winds, but as far as something pushing out there at record-breaking speed, you're not getting that. You're just getting some of the heavier rain, more moderate rain, and just the gusty winds now. But the cell in question is right there now in northern parts of Whitley County. The sky's getting a little darker for you there in Woodbine, Corbin, over to Siler. All of those locations starting to get a little darker. Rain starting to probably pick up. You're seeing some lightning perhaps off in the distance. It may not be as ominous as it was a little while ago, but it's there, and it's slowly moving through your area there in Whitley County. And the bulk of it, and the heaviest part of it, the most intense part of it, sitting there on top US 25 and getting ready to cross the Interstate 75 there in Whitley County. So falling apart a little bit here within the last few minutes, but still strong enough to possibly produce some large hail, and those gusty winds maybe in excess of about 60 to 70 miles per hour. That's why some of the warnings are issued. That's why they keep them out, is because they could still produce maybe winds at that speed and hail the size of a quarter or larger. And sometimes even when the data starts to say otherwise, it could still be doing it. So we'll hang with it here for the next at least 8 minutes, unless the warning goes down earlier than that, though the area highlighted for the tornado warning is no longer even affected by the most severe or the most significant part of the storm. It's now toward the south. So it's already bypassed those other locations that were highlighted with the warning. So again, we're going to sit right still for just a few more minutes here with your warning and keep you up to date on it. Dealing with the doozy over there in Clay County too, so right along or just to the south of 421, looking at a good one through here. Just strong winds possible out of it, and then you go over toward Leslie County, some moderate and heavy rainfall, all in that location as well. But the most intense cell in southern or eastern Kentucky is still in northern Whitley County. We'll just back around a little bit, show you the view of all of eastern Kentucky, and the rest of us dealing with rain. But again, nothing compared to what's going on down through there. I just want to make sure we cover all the bases and make sure we have all the storms highlighted, because again, sometimes those storms, they can just go up and be awfully intense in a very short amount of time. Still seeing hail markers showing up. That's what that blue circle is. Maybe it looks like a half circle to some of you. Can't see maybe the top of it, but yeah, it's a circle. And that's what that indicates, some hail moving in northern Whitley County where that cell's at. Still, tornado warning posted for the folks up here. Severe thunderstorm warnings now out toward the south through Whitley, Knox, and southeastern Laurel counties for the possibility of strong winds in excess of about 60 miles per hour. And then you're also dealing with the large hail threat. And what determines a severe thunderstorm now is quarter-sized hail. So just think of hail the size of a quarter falling out of the sky. That's what you need to get a severe thunderstorm warning. and they recently restructured that. So some research indicated that quarter-sized hail, that's when it started to really cause some damage, was when it became quarter-sized hail, as opposed to the old criteria, which was a nickel-sized hail. And so that's why it's kind of changed. So it takes a period of larger hail to cause some significant damage. So Corbin now seeing that heavy rain, I-75, a little pocket of it at least, dealing with it too. Rotation factor within this storm, that's what you bank on when you're just looking at radar for the potential of a tornado. Probably not as prevalent as it once was, but probably still producing some very strong winds throughout northern Whitley County and also now over into Knox County. So again, we're going to hang right here with you until we get some other word or some other indication here on radar. So again, rotation factor, what you bank on there when you don't have ground confirmation or spotter confirmation that there is a tornado. And everything seems to be falling apart rather quickly down there in southern Kentucky. So waiting just for the warning to go down. And if you're in that warned area, sorry if I keep bouncing back and forth, I'm just checking it. But if you're in that area, looks to me like you're doing pretty good because it's cleared your locations, and now the bulk of the activity is somewhere else, and again, not as extreme as it once was. So we're closing in on the expiration time, and I do expect all we'll see now will be severe thunderstorm warnings. They're going to be posted out there for Whitley County, Knox County, and Laurel County. Those may even go to the wayside maybe even earlier than what some of the times suggest, just depending on what happens with the development of these storms here. It's been raining out in front of them, so maybe some of the strong winds that feed these storms will go down to some degree here pretty soon. But just to get you up to date on the warning expirations, in case it stays out that long, you have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect there for Knox, Laurel, and Whitley counties. A little sliver there of Whitley, a chunk of Knox, and the folks there in southeastern Laurel, you're still dealing with maybe a severe thunderstorm. So official confirmation now coming in from the folks at the National Weather Service saying, hey, warning will go down at 5 o'clock, and what that means, when you can go ahead and say, hey, it's okay, we're going to take that warning down, that usually means that things are starting to clear up quite nicely. So what we'll have is, of course, there's still the tornado warning in effect technically for another 3 minutes, but it's going down, so that's good news. So severe thunderstorm warning still out for parts of Whitley, Knox, and Laurel County here until 5:30. So what we'll do for you now is we'll go ahead and join the regular programming. Of course, 27 News First coming up here in about 3 minutes or so.